Lovecraft Country continues. The second episode is kind of weird, but not in the way that I expected. So, it feels like a finale. It's very strange. Like, that's about all you're going to get spoiler free. I got to talk about what goes on in this thing. These are not going to be spoiler free reviews by and large. So, we deal with the cult in this house. We address the lineage question that was brought up in the previous episode. And at the end of this, the cult all dies and the temple crumbles. And they find Atticus's father. So this pretty much wraps up everything that had been set up in the first episode. It covers Atticus's lineage, deals with the cult that we met, retrieves his father. I mean, like, I'm going to assume that the daughter, I forget her name now, that she's still alive. I'm just assuming that. But this, it feels like the end of the story. And George dies. I love George. Come on. But it's very strange as a second episode. Like, strange to the point that I don't know if it's bad. I'm just so befuddled by it. Having dug a little bit into the original work that this show's based on, the original book is a series of short stories, much like Lovecraft's own work was. And so I wonder if they're trying to evoke that same feeling with the show. Like having 2 episodes encapsulate what would effectively be a short story, or it might even be a very direct adaptation. I don't know. I haven't read the original work. So it's either... this is the only way I can justify what they did. They're either trying to evoke the feel of a collection of short stories across the season, which I'm not sure if that works with a recurring cast. I mean, I think that works maybe even in 2-part segments if you're doing something a bit more like Black Mirror or Twilight Zone, where, you know, it's a new cast every time. Because otherwise it does get a little bit like, how do these same people keep running into the same stuff? Or at least I fear that I'm going to start thinking that come the 3rd episode. But we'll see. But yeah, either trying to evoke that or they're directly adapting the segments out of the original work, which, again, I don't know, and I'm afraid to look into that any deeper than I have, because I don't want to accidentally spoil stuff for myself in later stories, because I'm trying to sort out how the book was done. So, yeah, it's just strange. It's not badly executed, and if it was a finale, actually, I would say it feels like a 2-part finale. At the very least, a 2-part finale crammed into 1 episode. In terms of the number of events, the actual episode doesn't feel super rushed, but it's like, that's a lot that goes on, especially because of how, this is the wrong word, but I can't think of a better one, leisurely paced the first episode was. Because, like, we establish characters, and they go out to meet Atticus's father, and they make a couple stops along the way, and that's kind of it. Like, to sit down and write out a plot synopsis, that's kind of all that happens up until they meet the sheriff, and then all hell breaks loose. Whereas with this, there is so much crammed into this without actually feeling rushed, but like, that's a lot to happen in an hour. And it's just strange. I have a feeling I'm not gonna know what to make of this episode until the season's done and I can look back at it with the hindsight of, oh, that's why it was like that. Because right now, my big question is, why? Why? Why did you tie off so many stories in the second episode? Why did you introduce this cult to pretty much get rid of it immediately after. I don't know. I'm kind of presuming that there is a reason, and that I just don't know what it is. Now, if it turns out that there's no reason that I am ever able to suss out even after the thing's done, then I might just label it as bad. But for right now, I'm just kind of going, that was a thing. It seems to do decently what it wanted to do. It introduces things like sort of the madness element of Lovecraft, with initially the fact that George and Letty can't remember, and then when they do remember, the immediate response from both of them is, ah! Which, fair. So there's all that. And you know what was the best unsettling moment in this one? Nothing came close to rivaling the sundown chase in the first episode. But what was unsettling about this one was the daughter. Again, I should have checked her name. But she goes to help what appears to be a cow give birth. And it, from what I could tell, was a baby Shoggoth. And her acting, holding this monster, this slimy thing that came out of something that is absolutely not the same species that it is, and getting wrapped up in the miracle of life, getting all teary and like, this is my first time taking part in this. There was something really unsettling about that because of the disconnect between what I was seeing and how she was behaving. And so that was good. I would say that was the strongest beat of this particular episode. Because most of the other stuff that went on, with everybody having visions of their of people that they care about or had strong emotional connections with, that was like okay. Like the initial thing of when Atticus and Letty start making out. Well, I'll be honest, they start making out, and I went, "Oh, God's sake!" Because I hate romantic subplots, and I'm a grouchy bastard. But then the camera comes out, pans out, goes to the opposite end of this huge house, and there's Atticus, and I'm like, okay. So that was a cool reveal of how to show it, and also immediately undid my "oh God" reaction, which was nice. But ultimately, like that just kind of happened, and Atticus initially facilitating the opening of a portal thing and then undoing it and killing all the cult members. Like, it happens quick, and it's vague in a way that I can roll with. Like, yeah, sure. So that's what happened. Cool. But just weird. This is a weird episode, especially as a second episode. I keep coming back to that. I've probably said it like 10 times. Hope you weren't making a drinking game out of that, because if you are, you're on the floor right now, and I'm not responsible for the mess. But, yeah. Lovecraft Country, second episode, Whitey on the Moon. I do like the use of music and the overlaying of it over certain parts. But yeah, what did you think of this thing? Whatever your thoughts are, drop something down in the comments. Let's talk about it. I have a Patreon, support through which is what is paying my bills and keeping me fed right now. And there's the usual stuff, like, share, subscribe, and all those things. No pressure, though. We take a relaxed attitude around here, so just come on back next time you need a break.